Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. YouTube channel. In our today's video, we're going to learn about DAX function in Excel. In what should I learn in Excel in Office 365, 19, and 2021. The DAX functionality is available for us from Office 2013 version. So today we are going to see 5 simple logics of formulas that I'm going to create. Again, if you are creating the same logic in a PowerPivot desktop, so you have to create a calendar table separately. But if you're using an Excel file, you can create a calendar table at ease. Again, there will be a default edition of it. You can see them. But again, if you want to change and if you want to make improvisation on that part, definitely you will do it in that list. When you come back here, so this is the data that I'm going to have here. Again, if you are going to work in DAX functionality, so you are about to work in PowerPivot menu in Excel. If you are using Office 2016 and above, or after Office 2016 1808 version, PowerPivot will be available for all editions of Excel. Even a home and student edition will have a PowerPivot window in it. Earlier we had only in a professional edition, but now we can have them all in this list. Again, if you are not able to see this data set, don't worry about it. Just go to your file menu and then go to your accounts, and then or you can go to options and you can go to customize ribbon, or you can go to add-ins here. Add-ins will allow you to showcase what are the add-ins are active and what are the add-ins are inactive here. So now I have activated the PowerPivot for Excel. If you see this Microsoft PowerPivot for Excel in the inactive mode, don't worry about it. Just go to the point. It will tell you where this particular add-ons is available. So whether it is in the Excel add-ins or it is in common add-ins, it will tell you. So you'll have more add-ins in this list here. So if you want to pick up the PowerPivot window, you can go back to the com add-ins and give and go, and then use to check this button here. Again, I have a few more dimensions that comes in place. I'm interested only in the PowerPivot window for Excel here. Now I would like to add this data to my data model. So I'm going to place the cursor here and then I'll click the data, add the data to a data model. So when I do that, automatically this will add the data set for me. Data model, I've already added this in our list, so it's going to showcase the entire part for you. If I want to redo this process again, I will redo this entire process again. So let me just delete the entire data and then bring a data from our data sets here. So this data will not have a tabular form in it, so I will be bringing those tabular form in our list. I'll move this data to our DAX functionality, and then I'm going to convert the entire data into a table now. So I'll place the cursor in the invoice, go to insert and convert that into a table. As I've added this data, and these two other columns are after the data set, so that's why the coloring is a little different here. So go back to the home tab and remove the fill series option out of the equation, so all the colors will become one single one. If you want to name this table, you can also name them up here. We already saw about what is the table feature is all about, so you can just go to that video. Probably I'll be adding these dimensions in our description for us. So I'll call this as F transaction table. Now I got the list. I'll go back to my PowerPivot window. I just showed you how we can activate a PowerPivot window. Once you do that, you will get this data. If you don't get the menu still, don't worry about it. Place the cursor somewhere in the menu, go to the right click and go to customize ribbon, and see to that your PowerPivot window is checked here. If it is unchecked, it won't be appearing in here. If it is checked, it will appear here automatically. Now when I go back to my manage data, you will see the data set that comes in place here. So let me come back here and then add this data to a data model. Then automatically my F transaction table data set will be added here. The advantage of PowerPivot window is I can create a pivot table from the menu here itself, and you can create varied varieties of pivot table inside a PowerPivot for Excel. You can create a pivot table alone, or a chart alone, or a chart and pivot table in a horizontal or a vertical manner, or only charts horizontal and vertical manner. Go for a chart or a flattened pivot table. Before I go forward furthermore, I'll just select these 3 columns and then convert that into a specific data type. I'll call this as currency, and then I'll give an OK. That way it's going to change the entire data set for me. Before I go forward into a time intelligent function, I would like to understand the functionality better. So we will be creating a measure here. I have a separate column for each and every data set here, so that makes my life a little more easier here. But if you want to showcase all these answers separately, you can create your own formulas below. When you're creating a formula here, again, it's not gonna work like an Excel, so we need to understand the separators that we are gonna add here. So when I want to create a data set, you have to see the calculation area below. Normally this will appear in our menu. So if you normally go into it, you will see a data view and you can see a hidden shows here. When you click the calculated area, so you'll see the calculated function coming at the bottom. This will allow you to edit your data. So I'm going to create a heading called total sales here. If you want to give a breakup, you can do that. This is the name of the formula, and then I'm going to give an colon equal to. This will be our implicit effects that we're going to do it, and then I'm going to create a normal sum condition in our F transaction table here with the sales region in it. Now I get the information, but again this is not coming in a rupees format, so I'm going to go back and add a currency to it. So my total sales valuation is this. Now I can also create one more dimension here for total profit here. Then give an equals here, and then go back to your sum functionality, and then give an F transaction table here. Sorry, I didn't do the operator correctly here, so I have to give a colon equals, then the sum functionality will showcase data. When initially I didn't do that, so now I got the total profit also. Then I change the profits into a currency format here. So now I would like to create a calendar table here. By that way I can adjust the data set better. So I'm going to place the cursor in my date column, and then I'll go to design, and I'll go to the data table here, and then create a new table. Automatically it will add a new table for me called calendar table, and it also extracts the data in this particular data. Again, if I'm going to do this in a pivot table or in a Power BI desktop, I have to literally rebuild them one by one here, or I'll build only the first part, the rest of them will come automatically for me. But this calendar table will be given by me, but I will be adding them using a calendar DAX functionality here. I didn't use the DAX function to create a calendar here, just use the menu option to build them up in this list. So now I am ready with my data set here, so I'm going to create a pivot table where I can start creating the list here. But before I do that, I need 4 different variant of my formulas here. So I'm going to create 4 formulas here. Let me just fill the formula alone here. I'm going to create a previous day sales. So I'm going to compare each and every day sales with the previous day sales, and then I'll start building all the data set here. I'm going to build only one data in our, or one dimension in our video here. The same way we can create for month, quarter and a year if you wanted to. So I'm going to create this as a list. If I want to create the comparison data set, I need 2 measures earlier. That's the only reason why I created a total sales and total profit. If you want to go for a previous day sales or a previous day profit, you can do both of them. But again, you have to take the calculation point better. So once I do this, then I'm going to create a colon equals to symbol, and then I will tell calculate function, because calculate function will allow us to understand the data better. For a calculate function, I'm going to create an expression. I want to find out the total sales is what. Out of that, I want to compare the previous day's sales with one by one. That's what I'm about to do right now. So when I go back to this point, I'm going to just say total sales here. So total sales will be a part of our list. This is the calculated measure that I created. That's an expression for me. I'm going to give a comma. Then I'll create previous day sales from my calendar table date, and close the bracket here, and then close the bracket twice and give an enter. That's going to give you the whole list. Again, it's not going to make any big differences. It's going to show you the same answer again. So don't worry about it. If I do this for a month or quarter or a year, it's going to give you the same logic automatically. We will see how to use this in a pivot table effectively, and then showcase a table in a detailed pattern possible. Before I go to the reporting PowerPivot window, and I'll go back and create a pivot table here. So when I create a pivot table, it's going to automatically ask you questions. Would you like to create them in a new sheet? When I give an OK, that's going to showcase that pivot table a little differently. You will see that there is a pivot table fields comes in a different point. I'll say an active pivot table and all pivot table. I have two tables here. One is a calendar table, another one is a table that I created. I have the data sets here. Now I'm going to go back here and then I'm going to take the date column here. So I'm going to go for the more field. I'll take the dates here and I'm going to drag the dates to the rows and all the dates will come into play. Then I'll come back to the F transaction table and create a sales here. Then immediately it is going to give you a shout at you and it's going to give you the total value in all my list here, because there is no different relationship between the data sets here. If you want to see the data relationships a little better, or you can build them up here. So when I do this, automatically the Excel will pop up a small box and saying that the relationship of the table is needed to make the calculation work correctly for you. Then I'm going to just say auto detect the table here. Then that's going to say that yes, we can build it. Then immediately you can see that the data set gives you the list here, and then I'm going to close this. Now I got the numbers differently. Each and every day sales are coming up in rupees. Then I can add a previous day's sales next to it. Now I got all my previous day's sales that are coming up here. I would like to create two more dimensions, see whether the sales have been raised from the previous day to the sales of the day, and then how much of a differences are there. I want to do both these dimensions here. For this I'm going to go back to our report again. I'll go back to the manage data and create two more files here. Now when I pick up the previous day sales, it shows the blank. That's okay for me. Only it showed me some valuation here, it won't show me anymore. Now I'm going to find out the differences here, differences between the tables here. So I'm going to give an equals or colon equals here, and then I'm going to tell the system that I want to find out the total sales minus my previous day sales here. When I give an enter, that's going to give you another list for me. Again, it's going to give you the total list, and then I'm going to create the data. And now I'm going to create another dimension here called percentage differences here. So I'll just say percentage differences. Then it's a colon equals. Let me see whether I have a divide function here. Yes, the divide function will allow me to make my life a little more easier here. So I'm going to go for the previous day sales and then comma, divide that by the total sales here. Close the bracket and give an enter. That's going to give you the list for me here, and I will close this window, and then probably these are the additional columns that will come for you automatically. So I'm going to give a tick in the differences here. So wherever I have a differences, that's going to showcase the data set for me, and symbols will change wherever I have a negative. And then when I click the percentage of symbol here, again I didn't add a percentage symbol to the data set, that's why it's not showing me. We'll go back to the manage data, select this list, and then I'll change this to a percentage here, and then I'll close the bracket, and automatically my data set will say that how much of the percentage variances that has happened on a daily sales here. So this is how you can calculate the previous day sales and compare the data set better here. You can do this for a quarter, a month, and a year as the date hierarchy goes forward for you. The only change that you are about to do when you are doing that is when you go back to your PowerPivot window, the formula will change at the fag end of the data. So you'll use the same logic. Again, instead of previous day, you'll use a previous month or a quarter or a year. And then when you are adding your reports here, I've added a date here. You will be adding the reports for the month and a quarter and a year accordingly, so that will differentiate the data better, and you can build all the data set that you want to do it. If you want to build this again, so let me go back. I'll just show you the months alone. I'll go back to the data sets here, and then I'll go for the pivot table here, and this time around I'm going to use that in the existing sheet but somewhere in the I, and then give an OK there. And then I'll take the calendar table here. I'll go for more fields here, and then I'll take the month, and then I'll drag that in a column here. That's going to give you all the months in a detailed mode. Again, whenever I take the month, if I'm going to give the valuation for multiple years, then it's better to take the year and the month. That way it will be better. So I'll take the year, and then I'll add the year on top of the month, so that it shows the month for which year it belongs to. Then I can add the total sales here. Automatically when I add it, it's going to ask me for a relationship. If it is already built, then I don't have a problem. So now I know the sales I did for each and every month. Now I want to find out the previous day sales here. So let me go back to the model and then create a previous month sales here. I'm not creating the differences here. I'm only creating the previous month sales here, and I'll say colon equals, and then I'll say calculate from the total sales symbol, and then I'm going to say previous month, and then I'll say calendar date month here. Close the bracket and twice and give an enter. That's going to add the list for me. Then I can just come back to my data sets here, and then when I scroll down, you will see the previous month sales that's going to come into play. I think there is an error that is there available. What is that? So let me take the date itself, because I think that I'm giving the month here, so that I'll give a date, and then close the bracket and give an enter. Yes, now the errors have gone. Yes, perfect. So I'm going to close this data set, and then when I come back to the web transaction and pick the previous month, then that's going to give you a list. Again, I didn't make them in a currency pattern, so jump back to the data and change this to currencies here. And when I close the bracket, and then you can see that the differences of the months that comes into play automatically. If you want to compare data and then how each and every month have performed between each other, you can do that with a DAX functionality here. The same way we can do it for quarter and as well as for the year. So this is how we will do our DAX function in Excel using a time intelligent function. And we have saw how to compare data between a daily and monthly year. You can try quarterly and yearly. If you have any query, you can just add as a comment. We will answer you back how to build them up, or else I'll build another video which allows you to get this quarterly and yearly calendar table also. This is Vinod signing out from B10X YouTube channel. Please do like, share and comment on our video, and also subscribe our channel so that you get all your future videos, which is going to be very important, and we are going to build a lot of DAX functionalities as we go forward. Thank you so much. Happy updating.